Victoria's Secret is one of the largest and most well-known lingerie brands in the world. They're known for their famous fashion shows and high-profile brand ambassadors like Miranda Kerr and Adriana Lima, but they've been getting a lot of hate recently due to the unrealistic beauty standards that they perpetuate through their marketing campaigns. So, what is the story behind the brand? Let's find out. Taking a look back, the story of Victoria's Secret dates all the way back to the early 1970s. And it all started with a guy named Roy Raymond. At the time, Roy was working at an investment bank on Wall Street. But his dream was to run his own business one day, so he decided to quit his job and start a new company. He wanted to open up a retail store that specialized in lingerie. But there was one key difference from other lingerie stores. Roy didn't want to make women feel uncomfortable when shopping for lingerie. You see, the lingerie market at the time was extremely limited. If you wanted to buy lingerie, you had to go to either department stores or specialty lingerie shops. The problem was that both options were terrible. Department stores didn't have enough selection, and specialty lingerie shops were too expensive for most people. And if you actually did manage to shop for lingerie at these stores, the experience was not very fun. The lighting was dim, the salespeople were pushy, and the overall vibe was just uncomfortable. Roy saw this as an opportunity to disrupt the market. He wanted to create a lingerie store that offered both cheap prices and a comfortable shopping experience. This would be his secret to success. On May 12, 1977, Roy opened up his first Victoria's Secret store in Stanford Shopping Center in California. His business was decent for the first few years, but it really took off in 1982. That is because Roy decided to expand the business by opening a mail-order catalog. The catalog featured affordable lingerie alongside sleepwear and other women's clothing. Very quickly, Victoria's Secret became one of the fastest-growing businesses in the country. But unfortunately, Roy wouldn't be around to enjoy his success. On August 8, 1990, Roy passed away from a rare form of cancer. Before he passed, he named his wife and business partner, Janie, CEO of the company. Janie tried her best to keep the business running, but she knew that she wasn't the right person for the job. She had no interest in lingerie. Fortunately, there was someone who was interested in buying the company, Les Wexner, the founder of L Brands. Les was attracted to the growth potential of Victoria's Secret, so he purchased the company for $1 million in 1982. With Les at the helm, the company started to grow exponentially. He understood what made Victoria's Secret so successful, and he doubled down on those strategies. For example, he kept the prices low while expanding the product catalog. He also hired attractive models for their catalogs and TV commercials. Most importantly, he kept the stores brightly lit and decorated them with bright colors. This made it more of a fun experience than a chore. By the late 1990s, Victoria's Secret had become one of the biggest lingerie retailers in the world. They were doing over $4 billion per year. Leslie knew that they could take things to the next level. So he decided to launch their fashion show. The first Victoria's Secret fashion show aired on November 1995. It was a huge success. People loved watching beautiful women walk down the runway in lingerie. Over the next decade, the fashion shows only got bigger and bigger. By the early 2000s, the fashion shows were generating over 100 million organic impressions per year. This translated to billions of organic impressions over the course of the decade. But despite the success of the fashion shows, Leslie knew that they needed to do something else to take the business to the next level. So he decided to launch a new product called the Angel. Angels were supposed to be the face of the brand. They would appear in the fashion shows, the commercials, and of course, the catalogs. Cocoon. The first group of angels included Claudia Schiffer, Naomi Campbell, and Christy Turlington. Cocoon, but it was evident that Leslie wanted to move in a different direction. The new angels would need to be supermodels with megawatt smiles and wholesome personalities. This is when Gisele Bündchen, Adriana Lima, and Miranda Kerr joined the company. These women would end up becoming the faces of the company for the next decade. But while Victoria's Secret was growing rapidly, there was still a large portion of the market that they hadn't tapped into yet. In 2001, they launched a new brand called Victoria's Sport, as the name suggests. This line specialized in activewear. This proved to be another major success for the company. During the 2010s, Victoria's Secret started losing its appeal, though. Women were fed up with the unrealistic beauty standards that Victoria's Secret promoted. Also, millennial women didn't feel represented by Victoria's Secret. To make things worse, many rival companies started to emerge throughout the 2010s. For example, Aerie was founded in 2006, but it wasn't until the 2010s that they really started gaining traction. The marketing campaigns didn't rely on unrealistic beauty standards or Photoshop. Instead, they used real women with real bodies. Not surprisingly, this was much more relatable to millennials and Gen Zers. By 2018, Aerie had captured 30% of the market share, while Victoria's Secret only had 22%. By this point, Leslie knew that he had to change things up. So he announced that they would no longer have an annual fashion show. He believed that the money would be better spent on social media ads, but it was too little and too late. Victoria's Secret was already a dying brand. Then came COVID-19. Store traffic plummeted in 2020, and e-commerce sales fell even harder. Sales fell from $7.1 billion in 2019 to $4.8 billion in 2020, and things won't look much better this year. Either sales are expected to fall another 20% in 2021. With sales falling like this, Leslie knew that he had to get rid of some fat. He laid off 25% of the corporate staff and permanently closed all of their stores in Canada. But it seems like that's not enough. Analysts expect Victoria's Secret to file for bankruptcy in the coming months. So what can we learn from this story? The biggest lesson that we can learn from this story is to evolve with your market. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that you should change your core values or your core products. What it means is that you always need to be making small adjustments to stay relevant. For example, Tesla has released several lower-end cars to cater to lower-income customers. And Apple constantly releases cheaper iPhones to attract first-time iPhone users. Similarly, Victoria's Secret needed to evolve with the times. Instead of doubling down on supermodels and unrealistic beauty standards, they should have embraced body positivity and diversity. Doesn't seem like Leslie was willing to make that pivot though. And that's why Victoria's Secret is on the brink of bankruptcy. Do you guys think Victoria's Secret will be able to turn things around? Comment that down below. Also, do you guys remember when Victoria's Secret was big? Comment that down below as well. And, of course, consider subscribing. It's free and helps a ton. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.